Hey guys, this is Jordan Tracy with Inside Monitor World. Today I'm going to show you how to clean the foam tips that are on in-ear monitors. So a lot of you guys, most church people have in-ears that have foam tips that you give to your volunteers to use during the service. Now, you know, a lot of people, their ears get dirty, and so we go through these tips quite frequently. And while some people will wash them with or rub them off with alcohol swabs and stuff like that, I'm going to show you the proper way, best way of doing it. So I keep all mine in these little jars. The size is by color, so red, I only have a handful of these left. Blue, I've got not a lot of those. But when I go to my used tips, this thing is full. So it's time to clean these. These are almost all red, a handful of blue, and I'm going to show you how to do it. The only thing that you're going to need for this is an empty CD spindle of 100 or more. I actually don't need that part. I only need this part. Next up, step 2. Break into your facility's kitchen and find the coffee maker. It has the little hot water spindle here. That's what we're going to use. So I've taken all of my tips and I put them in the spindle. Then you take regular, ordinary Dawn dish soap and you put some of that all up in there. Very good. Okay, so it's all in there, dirty ones. Got a good amount of soap in there. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to get some scorching hot water on there. And that is sufficient. Not a lot. Ooh. And then we just swirl this around for a little bit. Swirl, 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 swirl. Don't worry, it's not going to hurt the plastic of the foam or the foams or anything like that. I've been doing this same way for 12, 13, 14 something years. And so these foams, they last forever. You can always reuse them. You can buy them. You can throw them away and just buy new. But when you're trying to be a good steward of your resources, this is how you do it. And this is the most sanitary way to do it. So they're still swirling. I'm just swirling as I'm talking to you. Steam's coming up off the top of them. And all kinds of debris is floating down to the bottom. Okay, so when I feel like they've had a sufficient soak and that that all the earwax and other stuff on these tips have been washed off, then I'm going to start the rinsing process. So that's next. Alright, so these have been sitting and soaking for a few minutes. I've been swirling them around. I took a plastic spoon and just made sure to agitate them. Here's the next step. So I'm going to take it and put it in the sink, and then I'm going to rinse these with cool water. So the point here is going to be just to get the soap out of the water, and the tips will wash themselves. Okay. It's hard doing this with one hand, so I apologize. So normally what I do is I stick my hand in there and I create kind of a little net, keeping any from escaping. Well, but if they do, there's a little thing here, so I'm not worried. I'm not going to lose any. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna take a handful of these, dump the water, as much of the water as I can, leave it in there, toss back in the handful that popped out, that were caught by the drain, and we're just gonna keep rinsing these. Keep rinsing them, give them a squeeze. All right. So some of these are foam and some of these are rubber, so that's why the colors are different. In case you're wondering. All right, so I'm gonna try to get them all on one side with my hand. Dump again. Scragglers again. So rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat until there are no more bubbles, and then I'll come back to you when I've gotten there. All right, so my foams are now wet, but they're soap free, and now it's time to dry them. So this is what they look like, and because they're foam, some of these are rubber, but some of these are foam, when you squeeze them, still got water in them. So I'm going to show you the quick way on how to remedy that. Okay, you're going to find a clean surface. You're going to take a roll of the paper towel and you get the foams from the CD rack, and you're just going to plop them down, and then going to cover it and push that water out. Whoops. There. Push the water out. So you're going to do this until there's no more water, until the paper towels are dry. Also, I'm going to show you an alternative method. If you're strapped for time, then what you do is you can take just a wad of paper towels with them in the with the foams in the CD, and take this and smash it down. Smash them to get the moisture out. It isn't ideal because not everything will get pulled all the way out, but if you don't have a lot of time, this can save you some time. Okay, nearly done. So 2 more steps left. Well, almost 2, just 1 really. So I have these out. They are dry to a paper towel, but there's still just a tiny bit of moisture left in some of them, and I want them all to be totally dry. So what I'm doing is I'm putting them on these 2 little plates in front of this fan. I'm going to turn this on high, so that's air drying these guys. I'm going to come in here every 20 minutes or so, pick up the plate and give it a shake, so that way, you know, they all get turned and that there's good enough air exposure and air movement and etc. So for the next 2 or so hours while this is going, this is the gross part. Okay, you may want to use gloves for this one. For the purpose of this demonstration, I've already cleaned these, so I'm not going to use gloves, so don't freak out. But if you have been an audio engineer at a church for any amount of time and have used foam-tipped ears, you know that the earwax doesn't just get on the foams. Sometimes it gets down in the canals. And so we got to clean those out too. I've had people be like, I can't hear out of this ear, and we think it's a connection problem, we think it's a cable problem, we think it's a signal flow problem. Turns out they pull it out and it's impacted. So you're gonna need 2 tools for this. First is a ear cleaner tool, and so these are like $1, maybe $2. It costs more to ship these than it does to buy them. If you're in Kansas City, Kansas area at all, I'll just give one to you if you don't have one. But if you bought a set of ears, it should have come with one of these. They're super cheap, so super effective and valuable. And the will it focus, please? That little wire is thinner than a needle. It's thinner than a. I've had people try to use pens to try to get earwax out of the canals of their ears. It doesn't work. So we're going to take this and we're going to do the gross scooping and make sure that there's no debris whatsoever. A little piece there. This has a little brush too, so just for funsies, I'm going to brush it. I don't see the brush actually doing much. Most of the hard work is done by the little wire. Okay, so then I'm going to come back and do the second ear. Ugh. This is not the fun part. This is when you question your career decisions. So, okay, let's see. Did I get it all? Yep, I got it. Give it a brush, just for fun. Okay. When you have a little bit there, wipe it off on a paper towel or something gross. Okay. Other thing you're gonna need for this are little alcohol swabs. You can buy these by I think 100 or 200 in a little box. And so pop open and take one out. And then I'm going to clean specifically the canal, but after I do the canal, I'm going to give the whole ear a wipe down just for sweat and stuff like that. But I want to focus on the outside of the canal. Don't try to get the alcohol swab on the inside of the canal. You won't be successful anyways. All right, and then do the other one. All right, give the whole ear a nice clean. Very good. Beautiful. Okay. A little bit more right there. So these are Ultimate Ears. Ultimate Ears does sell all of their products in foam tip versions. So if you are interested in getting a set of Ultimate Ears, then contact me. I would be more than happy to help you purchase those. I will give you a phenomenal rate. I will beat anybody else's rate. And if you want foam tip versions, I can get you these too. So, yeah. Do these to all the ears that you have while the foams are drying, and then I'll check back in with you guys in a couple hours once the foams are done. Okay guys, so it's been a couple hours. I took one of the plates off, and I've been going over there and shaking them and checking on them and everything. You'll notice they have gotten significantly darker. They've taken their color back. And if I grab one and give it a squeeze, no moisture. No moisture. That's what we want. So that way there's no bacteria that can live in here. And that's just going to be wonderful. So after they're done, I'm going to take them, do a quick quality check. Meaning I'm going to check and make sure that like the foam has not been ripped. Some people can rip the foams by accident when they pull them off of the canal. And then back in their little bin. This is a little rubber one. And I'll go back in there. So there was probably no moisture around in that one, but that's okay. Check it out. It's all good. Fantastic. By the way, these jars, in case you're wondering, I got them on Amazon. I think I paid $8 for an 8-pack of them. And they hold, I don't know, just a few ounces. And they're really, really quite versatile. So, anyways, yeah. So guys, thanks for watching. And I hope this was helpful. Hopefully this was useful. This is a way to be a good steward of your resources when you're working at a church. And the foam tips are really, really expensive, and cleaning them is just so much better. Now, I did want to add one thing. So I use the air dry method. As you saw, actually, there's the fan is still going on the other plate. But a method that I have used before and works just as well. If you're not able to air dry it for whatever reason, I've taken them and I put the foams, the wet. Well, they're not wet. It's just really kind of moist still, and I put them on a plate, like a paper plate, and then I go to my amp room, and I put them betwixt on top of an amp module between two of them. And our amp rooms are AC cooled, and so it's actually a really cold room, but those amps are quite hot. So not hot, but they're an elevated temperature, and so the heat between two amps has been enough to dry them sufficiently. Also, if you know that air conditioning isn't just to make the room colder, it also pulls moisture out of the air. So kind of a win-win in that it'll be a very dry room, and then you'll be putting it onto a warm surface. So those combined helps dry them out as well. So again, Jordan Tracy, Inside Monitor World, dealer for Ultimate Ears, dealer for Shure, dealer for Sennheiser, dealer for, I'll put all the companies that I work for down below. So see you guys next time.